They say betrayal leaves a scar you can never truly heal from. I never understood that, until the night I walked into that dimly lit room. The low hum of conversation, the faint smell of lavender oil, the creak of the door as I pushed it open. It's all burned into my memory. For a moment, time stopped. The scene before me was both a nightmare and a twisted confirmation of everything I'd been trying to deny. And there she was, Lisa, my wife. But in that moment, she felt like a stranger. It didn't start with that night. The cracks had been forming long before, hidden beneath the surface of what I thought was a stable marriage. Lisa's mood swings, her newfound glow, and Emily's sly comments. All of it pointed to something I refused to see until it was too late. Looking back now, I feel like an idiot for not noticing it sooner. But at the time, I told myself it was nothing. Just life, stress, or one of those phases all couples go through. Emily. That's where it started. Or at least that's what I'd like to believe. Lisa's best friend, always cheerful and full of compliments that felt a little too pointed. "You're such a good cook, better than most chefs I know," she'd say, or, "Lisa's lucky to have someone like you." On the surface, harmless enough, but the way she looked at me lingered too long, like she was testing the waters. At first, I ignored it. I didn't want to make something out of nothing. Lisa adored Emily, and I didn't want to ruin that. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized her compliments weren't casual. The lingering glances, the light touches during conversation, it was subtle, but it was there. Still, I let it slide. I loved Lisa, and the last thing I wanted was to bring up doubts about her best friend. One Saturday, things took a strange turn. We'd invited Emily over for a backyard barbecue, a typical weekend thing. Grilled burgers, beers, and casual conversation about work and vacations we'd never take. Lisa had been complaining about her back all day, blaming a workout from earlier that week. "You should have seen her at the gym," I joked, flipping the burgers, "trying to deadlift like she's training for the Olympics." Lisa rolled her eyes but winced as she shifted in her chair. "It's not funny. My back is killing me." That's when Emily leaned forward, her face lighting up as if she'd just had a brilliant idea. "You know, I might have the perfect solution for you," she said, her voice dripping with enthusiasm. "Oh?" Lisa asked, raising an eyebrow. "I know this amazing massage therapist. He's a total pro, works wonders. I went to him a while back and he completely fixed my neck pain. You should absolutely try him out." Lisa hesitated, glancing at me. "I don't know. I'm not really a massage person." "Trust me," Emily said with a wave of her hand. "You'll love it. He's discreet, professional, and really knows what he's doing. Plus, it'll give you an excuse to take some time for yourself." One Saturday, everything started to shift. Lisa and I had invited Emily over for a backyard barbecue. It was a typical weekend thing. Grilled burgers, beers, and the three of us chatting about work, vacations we'd never take, and whatever else came to mind. Lisa had been complaining about her back all day, saying she must have overdone it during her workout earlier that week. "You should have seen her at the gym," I joked as I flipped the burgers, "trying to deadlift like she's training for the Olympics." Lisa rolled her eyes but winced as she shifted in her chair. "It's not funny. My back is killing me." Emily leaned forward, her face lighting up like she'd just had a brilliant idea. "You know I might have the perfect solution for you," she said, her voice dripping with enthusiasm. "Oh?" Lisa asked, raising an eyebrow. "I know this amazing massage therapist. He's a total pro, works wonders. I went to him a while back and he completely fixed my neck pain. You should absolutely try him out." Lisa hesitated, glancing at me. "I don't know. I'm not really a massage person." Emily waved her hand dismissively. "Trust me, you'll love it. He's discreet, professional, and really knows what he's doing. Plus, it'll give you an excuse to take some time for yourself." I chimed in. "Honestly, it sounds like a good idea. Your back's been bugging you for weeks. It couldn't hurt to try." Lisa seemed unconvinced, but nodded slowly. "All right. Maybe I'll give it a shot. Do you have his number?" Emily's smile widened, and she quickly rattled off the details. "You'll thank me later," she said with a wink. As the afternoon wore on, I couldn't help but notice how Emily's mood seemed unusually playful. Every time she mentioned the massage therapist, she'd glance at Lisa, then at me, like there was some inside joke I wasn't privy to. At one point, she leaned over to me and whispered, "This is going to be great for her. She really needs to loosen up, don't you think?" I nodded, trying to ignore the double meaning in her tone. "Yeah, sure," I said, keeping my voice neutral. But the way Lisa and Emily exchanged looks after that stuck with me. It wasn't a casual glance. It was deliberate, almost conspiratorial. It was like they were sharing some unspoken secret, and I couldn't shake the feeling that Emily was up to something. That night, as we cleaned up after the barbecue, Lisa seemed lighter, almost excited. "Emily's really something, isn't she?" she said as she dried a plate. "She's definitely something," I replied, choosing my words carefully. Lisa didn't seem to notice my hesitation. "I think I'll call that massage therapist tomorrow," she said. "Emily's right. I probably do need to take better care of myself." I smiled, not wanting to dampen her enthusiasm. "Good idea. Hopefully it'll help with your back." But deep down, I couldn't shake the strange vibe from earlier. Emily's knowing smirks, Lisa's sudden interest in self-care, it all felt off. Maybe I was reading too much into it. Or maybe not. Only time would tell. At first, the massages seemed like the perfect solution. Lisa started coming home in a noticeably better mood after just a couple of sessions. Her back pain, which she'd been complaining about for weeks, was suddenly gone. More than that, she was different, lighter, more cheerful. She smiled more, laughed more, even hummed while making coffee in the mornings. "You seem happy," I remarked one evening as we sat down to dinner. She shrugged, but her grin gave her away. "I don't know. I guess I just feel better, less stressed." "That's great," I said, genuinely relieved. I wanted to believe this was just the result of some stress relief and good massages, and for a while that's exactly what I told myself. The first real crack in my confidence came during Emily's next visit. She popped over for coffee, as usual, and as the two of them chatted on the couch, the subject of the massages came up again. "So," Emily said, flashing a sly smile, "how's it going with my miracle worker?" Lisa beamed. "Amazing. Seriously, Emily, thank you. I don't think I've felt this good in years." "I told you, didn't I?" Emily teased, nudging Lisa's shoulder. "I knew he'd work wonders on you." Something about her tone made me pause. It wasn't what she said. It was the way she said it, like there was a hidden meaning behind her words. Lisa blushed slightly and gave Emily a look I couldn't quite decipher. "Yeah, well," Lisa said, laughing nervously. "He's definitely good at what he does." Emily smirked. "Oh, I bet he is." The two of them burst out laughing, and I forced a chuckle, pretending I didn't notice the undertone in their conversation. But I did notice. As the weeks went on, Lisa's glow only grew. She started paying more attention to her appearance, something she hadn't done in years. She bought new clothes, updated her skincare routine, and even started wearing perfume. Again. It wasn't like she'd been neglecting herself before, but now she was going above and beyond. She also started putting extra effort into getting ready for her massage sessions. I'd watch her in the mirror as she fixed her hair and carefully chose her outfit. It almost felt like she was getting ready for a date, not a massage. "You look nice," I said one evening as she tied her hair back into a neat ponytail. "Thanks," she replied, adjusting her top. "It's nothing special. It's just a massage, right?" I added, trying to keep my tone light. She glanced at me through the mirror, her expression unreadable. "Of course. Why?" "No reason," I said quickly, forcing a smile, but the nagging feeling in my gut wouldn't go away. Lisa's appointment started running longer. She'd text me saying the therapist was running late or that her session had been extended. At first, I didn't think much of it, but as it became a pattern, I couldn't help but wonder. One evening, she came home almost an hour later than expected. Her cheeks were flushed, her hair slightly messy, but she looked more alive than I'd seen her in years. "Sorry I'm late," she said, kicking off her shoes. They added some extra techniques to the session. It was incredible. That's great, I said, studying her closely. You look energized. Yeah, I guess I am, she said with a laugh before heading to the kitchen to pour herself a glass of wine. I couldn't pinpoint what it was, but something about her behavior didn't sit right with me. She wasn't just happy. She was radiant. Like a completely different person. The next morning over breakfast, Lisa dropped another bombshell. I've been thinking, she said, stirring sugar into her coffee. After this massage course is over, I might sign up for another one. Maybe something more focused, like anti-cellulite massage. Anti-cellulite massage? I asked, raising an eyebrow. Yeah, she said, smiling. It's supposed to be great for toning and circulation. I think it'd be good for me. I chuckled, trying to mask my unease. Hey, go for it. Can't hurt to give it a try, right? Exactly, she said, her smile widening. But inside, I was starting to wonder. Was this really about self-care? Or was there something else going on? Emily didn't make things any easier. She continued to joke about the massages, dropping little comments here and there that made me feel like I was missing something. Lisa's glowing, don't you think? She said one evening while Lisa was out of earshot. It's like she's a whole new woman. She's definitely happier, I admitted. Emily smirked. Told you that therapist was a miracle worker. Her tone was light, but there was something in her eyes, something knowing that sent a chill down my spine. As the days went on, my suspicions grew. I started paying more attention to Lisa's behavior, looking for signs, but I couldn't bring myself to confront her. What if I was wrong? What if this was all in my head? Still, the doubt gnawed at me. I decided to keep watching, to see how things played out. If there was something going on, I was going to find out. One way or another, the unease that had been gnawing at me for weeks had finally become unbearable. Lisa's glow, her longer appointments, Emily's cryptic comments, it all added up to something I could no longer ignore. I needed to know the truth, even if it shattered everything I thought I knew about my wife and my marriage. One Thursday evening, Lisa mentioned she had another massage appointment. It might run a little late, she said, grabbing her bag. Don't wait up, I nodded, hiding my growing suspicion behind a forced smile. Have fun. As soon as she left, I grabbed my keys. I'd made up my mind. I was going to the salon. I wasn't going to accuse her without proof, but I had to see for myself. If this was all in my head, then fine. But if it wasn't, well, I wasn't sure what I'd do. The salon was a small, unassuming building tucked away in a quiet part of town. The windows were tinted, giving no hint of what went on inside. I parked across the street and sat in my car for a few minutes, trying to steady my nerves. Finally, I got out and walked to the door. It was unlocked, and a small bell jingled as I stepped inside. The reception area was empty, dimly lit with soft music playing in the background. I could faintly hear voices coming from the back. A man's voice and a woman's. My stomach dropped. I told myself it could be nothing. Maybe they were just talking. Maybe this was all a big misunderstanding. But as I moved closer to the source of the voices, my worst fears began to solidify. The man's voice was low, smooth, almost teasing. The woman's voice, Lisa's voice, was breathy, full of laughter. I froze for a moment, my mind racing. I didn't want to believe it, but I had to know for sure. I stepped closer to the door, my heart pounding in my chest. The voices grew louder, clearer, and then I heard it. Lisa's unmistakable moan. My blood turned to ice. I pushed the door open slightly and peeked inside. What I saw made my stomach churn. There she was, my wife, half-dressed, straddling the massage table. The man, wearing nothing but a white massage robe that hung loosely around his waist, had his hands all over her. They didn't notice me at first. They were too caught up in each other, too oblivious to the fact that their little secret had just been exposed. I pushed the door open wider, and it creaked loudly. Lisa gasped, whipping her head around. The man froze, his hands still on her. For a moment, the room was silent, save for the sound of my ragged breathing. Jason, Lisa started scrambling to cover herself. I held up a hand, cutting her off. My voice was cold, calm, and sharper than I'd ever heard it. Don't bother. The man stepped back, his expression shifting from shock to something closer to annoyance. Look, man, I think you can have her, I said, my tone icy. She's all yours. Before either of them could respond, I turned and walked out. The drive home was a blur. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly that my knuckles turned white. I wasn't angry, not yet. I was numb, my mind replaying the scene over and over again. The look on Lisa's face, the smug indifference of the man who'd taken my place. It was too much to process. By the time Lisa got home, I was sitting at the kitchen table, a bottle of whiskey in front of me. She hesitated in the doorway, her face pale and her eyes wide with panic. Jason, she started, her voice trembling. I didn't look at her. I poured myself another glass and took a slow sip. Did you have fun? I asked, my voice devoid of emotion. She flinched. It's not what you think, she said quickly. I let out a bitter laugh. It's exactly what I think, Lisa. Don't insult my intelligence. She stepped closer, her hands wringing nervously. I made a mistake. It didn't mean anything. I was just... Save it, I snapped, cutting her off. I don't care why you did it. I don't care about your excuses. Tears streamed down her face. Jason, please, let me explain. We can fix this. We can... Fix this? I interrupted, finally looking at her. My gaze was cold, unrelenting. You think we can fix this? After what I saw tonight? She fell silent, her shoulders shaking as she sobbed. I stood up, towering over her. You wanted freedom, Lisa. You wanted something new, something exciting? Fine, you've got it. From now on, we're in an open relationship. Her head snapped up, her tear-streaked face full of confusion. What? You heard me, I said, my voice firm. You can do whatever you want with whoever you want, but so can I. She stared at me, her mouth opening and closing like she wanted to argue but didn't know what to say. Finally, she whispered, Jason, please don't do this. I leaned in closer, my voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. This is what you wanted, isn't it? Freedom? Choices? Well, now you've got them. Let's see how much you like it when the shoe's on the other foot. Without another word, I grabbed my glass and walked out of the room, leaving her standing there, trembling and broken. That night, as I lay in bed, I couldn't sleep. My mind was racing with thoughts of revenge. Lisa had made her choice, and now it was my turn to make mine. If she thought she could betray me and get away with it, she was about to learn just how wrong she was. A week had passed since the night I caught Lisa in that massage room, and the house felt suffocating. Lisa tiptoed around me like a ghost, her attempts to apologize or explain falling on deaf ears. She'd tried to act normal, cooking dinner and asking how my day went, but I didn't care. My mind was elsewhere, focused on a plan that had been simmering since the moment I walked out of that massage parlor. I wasn't going to let her betrayal slide. If Lisa wanted to shatter what we had, I was going to make sure she felt the same pain I did, and I knew exactly how to do it. I texted Emily one afternoon, keeping the message casual. Hey, Emily, can you stop by tonight? Need to talk about something important. Her reply came almost immediately. Of course. What time? I told her to come by around 8. Lisa would be at work late that evening, so the timing was perfect. I had no doubt Emily would show up. She'd always been eager, too. Eager, really? For years, I'd noticed her lingering touches, her overly flattering compliments, the way her eyes lingered on me when she thought no one was looking. She'd wanted this for a long time, and now so did I. At exactly 8 p.m., there was a knock at the door. When I opened it, I wasn't surprised to see Emily standing there, dressed in a tight black dress that left little to the imagination. Her lips were painted a deep red and her hair fell in soft waves around her shoulders. She looked like she was ready for a date, not a casual chat. Hey, Jason, she said, her voice smooth and warm. What's this all about? I stepped aside to let her in, closing the door behind her. Just something I need to get off my chest, I said, my tone steady. She smiled knowingly, her eyes scanning me in a way that made her intentions clear. I've been wondering when we'd get a chance to talk, just the two of us. We sat in the living room at first, making small talk over a couple of drinks. Emily leaned in closer with every word, her body language practically screaming invitation. I didn't have to try hard. She was already mine for the taking. You know, she said, twirling her glass of wine, I've always thought you deserved better. You've been such a good husband, so supportive. But sometimes people don't appreciate what they have. Her words hit their mark, fueling the fire of my anger. I set my glass down and leaned back, studying her. Is that what you think? She smiled, her eyes locking onto mine. I don't just think it. I know it. I didn't need any more encouragement. I stood up, took her hand, and led her to the bedroom without another word. She followed eagerly, her intentions written all over her face. What happened next was exactly what I'd expected. Emily didn't hesitate, didn't hold back. She'd been waiting for this moment for years, and she made no effort to hide her satisfaction. But for me, it wasn't about passion or attraction. It was about revenge. With every kiss, every touch, I felt a twisted sense of justice. This was what Lisa deserved, to know that the person she trusted most had betrayed her just as she had betrayed me. We were lying in bed, tangled in sheets, when I heard the front door open. My heart raced, but I didn't move. Emily didn't either. If anything, she seemed to relish the idea of being caught. Jason? Lisa's voice called from the hallway. Bedroom, I said calmly. Moments later, Lisa appeared in the doorway. The look on her face was one I'll never forget, a mix of shock, anger, and devastation. Her eyes darted from me to Emily, who was lounging in the bed with a smug smile. What the hell is this? Lisa screamed, her voice trembling. Exactly what it looks like, I said, sitting up and meeting her gaze without flinching. Emily stretched lazily, completely unfazed. Hi, Lisa, she said, her tone dripping with mock sweetness. Didn't expect to see you home so soon. Lisa turned to me, her face pale with fury. How could you? I stood up, pulling on my shirt with deliberate slowness. How could I repeated, my voice cold. How could you, Lisa? You think you can betray me and I'm just supposed to sit back and take it? Her jaw dropped. That was a mistake. I told you I was sorry. And this is mine, I said, gesturing to Emily. Now we're even. Tears welled up in Lisa's eyes as she looked between me and Emily. You're disgusting. Both of you. Emily smirked, propping herself up on one elbow. Oh, don't act so high and mighty, Lisa. You started this. I'm just finishing it. Lisa let out a strangled cry, her hands trembling as she clenched them into fists. I can't believe this, she whispered, shaking her head. I trusted you. Both of you. Trust? I snapped, stepping closer to her. You lost the right to talk about trust the second you walked into that massage room. She stared at me, her face crumbling as the weight of my words hit her. Without another word, she turned and stormed out of the room, slamming the door behind her. I heard the front door slam moments later, followed by the sound of her car starting. For a moment, the house was silent. Emily sat up, her smile fading, slightly as she looked at me. Well, she said, breaking the silence. That was intense. I didn't respond. I just sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the floor. The satisfaction I'd expected to feel wasn't there. Instead, there was an emptiness, a hollow ache where my marriage had once been. Lisa never came back. She packed her things the next day while I was at work, leaving behind nothing but her wedding ring on the kitchen counter. Emily stayed for a while, but whatever spark had ignited between us quickly faded. In the end, we were just two broken people who'd used each other to fill the void. I got what I wanted, revenge. But as I sat alone in my empty house, I couldn't help but wonder if it had been worth it. After all, in trying to destroy Lisa, I'd destroyed myself too.